How's it going, everyone? It's Mike, this old hot rod. Saturday, it's afternoon. I planned on getting to work on the car a lot earlier this morning. My twin sister is up from New Jersey, and she's an artist, and she does a lot of different things, and she had like this a solo event that she was putting on with a company, like a cafe locally a couple towns over. So I went and picked up my mom in the 30 coupe, and we went over and spent the morning into the early afternoon with my sister. So she's a really talented artist, does some really cool stuff. So that being said, I'm back. Just got the dogs out doing my thing, and I'm getting ready to drill the first hole in the car today. What I'm going to do is I'm just kind of messing around right now just to kind of get kind of going again, I guess. I got this little light from Vinny last weekend. I'm going to drill a hole and get that mounted right on that rear tail panel. I'll just stop picking away from there. I have these, I don't know if I'm going to use them or not. I picked these up at one point in time. Little set of hinges. Trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a deck lid, set of deck lid hinges. But these say I bought these from a person actually for my 2021 challenge. And I kept them because I figured I'd use them for something. Under dash sliders for windshield crankout. I believe these were for a 30-something Ford. I don't know. But in any event, I'm going to get this hole drilled, get this tail light assembly mounted real quick, and then move on to something much cooler than that. Now, I just guessed. I didn't measure, I didn't do anything, I just guessed and started drilling a hole. Something like that. So I got two more holes I got to drill real quick. I'll get some bolts thrown in that, and that'll be mounted. Simple as that. Like I had said before, no, I'm just whipping this thing together. Gonna mark it with my drill. Pop that out of there and drill these holes. And that's how it'll mount. There we go. All right, I'm gonna go grab some quarter 20 bolts. Is that crooked? Oh, we're good. We're good. I gotta find some old hardware to use. Shiny hardware isn't really gonna fit in. You know? There will be no whining on Hot Rod Building Day, puppy. No whining. Alright, so what I just did, kind of playing dress up for adult males. I threw that license plate on there, the tail light assembly. I had that plate screwed up on the wall in my garage for a while, 1945 plate. Just threw that on there real quick, got it all mounted, that's all set. Eventually I'll switch out the hardware. But what I'm going to do now is I was just lining up. I just made some measurements. Took a measurement from this piece of sheet metal on the sub rail, measured all the way forward to that piece of sheet metal. Found the center, which was 15 inches. I measured the center of the width or the thickness or whatever you want to call it of the rear cross member. Found the center of that, and then I just lined them up. So I got it lined up on both sides. So technically that should be directly in line with the center of the wheel, and hopefully that will line up with the wheel on the arch, or the tire on the arch. I got cowl feet at the same place on the front of the frame. Actually, this one's got to go over just a touch. That's better. I may be able to get, if I pull this seat pan out, which I am going to have to do, I think, I may be able to get another bolt down through maybe this right here. A couple holes right here, one on either side. So there'll be 6 total bolts holding the body down. I think that would be more than enough for this little car. Need to brighten up the camera a little bit. Once I get the body holes figured out exactly where they're going to go, I'm going to just get some hardware for that real quick. I have it in the shop. Throw some bolts in there, make sure I'm good. And then I'm actually going to go grab the motor and the transmission, bolt those two together. So I'm running a Flathead V8, which some of you guys saw on Instagram this morning, Facebook. It's a built motor, it's done. It was fresh out of the machine shop 5 or 6 years ago. I've owned it for 2 or 3 years. Older gentleman that lifelong hot rodder had sent it to the machine shop, but then during the time the machine shop had it and he got it back, he had sold the car that it was going to go in. So he didn't have anything to put it in, so he ended up selling it. I answered the ad. I bought the motor off of him. So that's the motor that's going to go in here. I'll take you guys for a quick walk and we'll go check it out. I gotta get the rear transmission mount so it'll mount in the cradle on this frame and the X member. So I have to get the right mount, so I gotta kind of look through my parts stash. I'll show you guys the motor real quick so you can see what's going to go in the car. It should move this car along pretty good. Alright guys, here we go. So this is a 1940-1941 Flathead, and the reason I know that is it's a raised deck. I don't want to risk popping the intake off. Actually, I should be able to. Oh, you can see it right there. See that raised deck right here? That's how you know the year. It's a pre-war block. So this motor was ready to go. I added the Y-end cheater heads. So these are aluminum Y-end cheater heads. I forget the compression ratio. It's stamped in the head. I purchased this Y-end dual carb intake down at Carlisle this past fall. It had 48 Strombergs on it. So twin 48 Strombergs. I picked these up off of a guy, I don't remember who, but hopefully they'll be good. One's got a little crack in it up the front, but that remains to be seen if they leak. This also came from a different gentleman that often has a generator mount, that offset mount. Got a set of headers. I'll probably end up running if I can. We'll see. I may end up having to run these. We'll see. But I've got several starters. I've got all that stuff. The clutch is complete. Already installed in the motor. Ready to go. Throw up bangs right here. So this is kind of just be one of them builds where I'm using what I have. And I had said that multiple times. I'm going to try not to spend any money on it if I don't have to. These are the heads that actually came on the motor. Hold on, there we go. So these are some sharp heads that came on the motor. And then the other one's up here. What also came on the motor was this Edmunds dual carb intake. It does have a generator mount, which is nice. A lot of them don't. But what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to try to run this Y-end intake with the Y-end heads. The cam that's in it is an Isky 3/4 race cam. I'm sure you can't see it. It has number 77 stamped in it. Got a little bit of rust on the front of it, but so this motor spins over just fine. Water pumps are good. I mean, who knows, they might leak. You can see the gasket on there. So I just popped these heads on a little while ago. You can see all the numbers. I believe it's a standard bore block. I don't know what the crank is in it, but pretty simple to figure it out. I'll pop the heads off before, you know, before I get it running, because there's no head gaskets in it. And I'll just spin it over and I'll measure the stroke. See what the stroke is. It could be a stock block, I don't know, but it has adjustable lifters in it, and obviously the carbon intake with the cam. So hopefully it'll move this little T down the strip pretty good. It should. On my way out front, I'm gonna go set this down in the driveway. Go figure out which transmission I'm going to use and which mount I'm going to need, because I know there's a few different ones. I think I have all the different styles. I think I have a few sets of flathead biscuits for the motor mount. Big things are happening, guys. Big things. I know where I want to put you. I'm going to put you where the sun is behind you. Alright. That's what I'm working on right there. So you can see what I got going on. So what I'm doing at the moment is, let me get this thing. So I'm going to flush out the motor before I go to start it, but for the time being I'm trying to get things bolted together so I can get it sitting in the frame. What I'm working on at the moment is the clutch. This is the transmission I'm going to use. I'll go over that in a minute. I want to protect my knees. Hold on. Alright. So, I had to pull this clutch off because the disc wasn't centered on the pilot bearing, so I wouldn't have been able to put the clutch in, the transmission on. So when I pulled this off, there was just a little bit of rust on the outside edges of the flywheel. So I just took this little whizzy wheel, Scotch-Brite, went around and kind of hit around the edges. Now you guys are probably cringing, but that's not where the clutch hits. The clutch only hits in the center. So none of the areas that I'm removing that rust from is actually where the clutch surface hits. But what I ended up doing is, because it was a little, kind of starting to just kind of rust a little bit, I went around real lightly, little circles. And just kind of removed a little bit of surface rust that was on the flywheel. This is the clutch disc. And to me it looks okay. It's just a flathead. Worst case scenario, if I have to pull it apart in the future and replace it, it's easy enough. I'm going to go down and look at my parts pile and see if I have an input shaft that I can use to center this up. I don't know that I do, but if I do, I'll use that. It may chatter, it may not, it may just be fine. Hopefully it'll be fine. If it is, great. If not, I'll buy a clutch in the future and put it in. I'm just trying to get the car together. To be able to drive it this fall would be pretty cool. There's that. What I need to do is go see if I have... let me go see if I can get an input shaft to get that lined up. And then we'll get this clutch and transmission bolted on. Alright, so I found one. I had a whole box of transmission parts out back. Clutch linkage arm, which that will certainly come in handy. Some gaskets, closed drive, U-joint, another collar, another throw-up bearing. This one is seized. Another transmission mount. But this is what I was looking for. This bearing's actually really good, so I may end up actually switching this out on another transmission that I have where the shaft isn't spinning very good. But I'm going to use this, like I had said earlier. I'm going to use this as trying to use this as an alignment tool. There it is right there. Alright. Now I can get this clutch buttoned up. Perfect. Alright. Plop that back in there. Now what I need to do is I need to get that transmission. I don't think there's oil in it, but I'll do that after. I think I have some 600 weight in the garage. Just grab a rag. I want to clean that out. I am going to paint this transmission. This transmission was rebuilt. This is probably one of the things that I've had the very longest out of everything I have for hot rods. I bought this a long time ago. And the guy had cleaned it and got it all ready to go and painted the top and a bunch of other pieces, but never painted this. So I'll get this painted, probably the same green as the motor. Alright, so I got my throw-up bearing. Bearings in there, spins, it's good. The spring's connected, so I'm good there. All the bolts are in. It's free. Actually, I'm going to go grab some grease. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anyone do this. You probably have. But I take my grease canister, I cut a little hole in the top, and I just use a little brush. Keeps my hands clean. It's just nice and neat. You can keep the cover on it. I'm not digging stuff out with my fingers, and it works perfectly. So just a little tip. A little bit of grease on the input shaft. Just want to grease everything that moves for obvious reasons. Alright, so I don't know what bolts to use, but I've got a couple of flatheads out back. Canisters of bolts everywhere. I figured some have to fit. Some of these parts came from a friend named Earl. Lives down in Wareham, the next town over. I met him through YouTube. He kindly donated me some nice parts. Alright, so I need to find out, I need to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So before I get the bolts, I'm just going to get this. I just gotta find the bolts. Whoop! Let's do that. Alright, so these lower ones here for now aren't gonna touch yet until I crank those in. And then I have 2 more on the bottom that I need to get. Let me go match these up with some hardware in the garage. Alright, camera died, but I really haven't done much since, so. Luckily I realized it right away. Grabbed a couple sockets and wrenches. I'm gonna see if I can get this lower mount off of that transmission mount, and maybe we can get this thing up inside on the carts at some point soon. Alright, let me see. Alright, get rid of that. Woo, this thing is nasty. Got some crud on this thing. Give it a quick shave. I'll probably end up painting this chassis, just real quick paint job, nothing fancy, something like a satin. Maybe we'll do it like a Rust-Oleum. I don't want it to look like a complete rat rod. I mean, I know you guys all know it's not that. I'm building a traditional hot rod. The people that know what a traditional hot rod is, they just know. They know it's not a rat rod. Because it's got all the right parts. Rat rods don't have all the right parts. Not usually. Although I must say, some of them are very impressive. And you have to give credit where credit's due. They're not my thing, but it's a big industry. And people have made a lot of money building them. And you got to give those people credit. They're talented, they're creative. Just not my thing. Before I knew really what traditional hot rods were, I had seen a few rat rods. And I thought they were cool. But that was before I knew better. So if anyone out there that's got a rat rod, that's all good, man. You do you. I'm going to do the traditional thing. And hell, some people don't like that. Some people don't like the term traditional hot rod, or era correct, or period correct. Yeah, whatever. Everybody's sensitive, right? Back to work. So let's see, it was the long goes to this way. And again, like I had said, this will all get cleaned up. Wire wheeled or something, painted, you know. Oh, I think there was only one washer. But I'm not tired yet, so let's do this. I'm gonna move some stuff around and see if we can get the motor lifted up. I'm gonna have to move the body back. Let me just move some stuff around real quick. Harleys. Get this old chrome shifter handle. I might try to use that. We'll see. Guys, gotta watch what I'm doing. Doing cool shit. Wah! You guys see what I'm doing? Oh! Bring the motor up, set it down, and then slide it under. I think I can do it without taking the body off. We're going to try. Wasn't recording, huh? Top fell out. Put that back in. So this camera shuts off every 20 minutes. Probably like just an auto shut off thing. And I think that's what had happened, so that's why it wasn't filming. What everybody does right when they get their motor in their car. So don't even take the carbs on it. Oh. Hold on. got this 32 shell. This is an old, original 32 shell from back in the day, probably the 50s, 60s. This old chrome band, some old little crown nuts. I just set it on there to see how it would fit the height. It's not too bad. I think it's pretty good if I weren't to run a hood. I have the remnants of an original chin in the big shop, but I need to remove that front cross member. So I think that's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to bring the machine back, bring this back to my brother, and then maybe mess around with that front cross member, maybe mess around with a grill shell. I'm going to go figure out which pedal assembly I need. So you can see, going to have to do some fabrication here because the width of the clutch rod is super small. I think that might even be too long, so I may even end up having to section this thing. So we'll see. Maybe not. No, I guess not. I think it'll work. Alright, so that'll be hopefully my clutch rod, so I'll get that in pretty soon, maybe tomorrow. I'm going to grab a pedal assembly. I think I got a few different pedal assemblies. I'm going to see if I have any that'll work with the X member. I think I have the remnants of what may have come out of this car. I may have taken it out. I feel like there was only the brake pedal though, not a clutch pedal. But we'll see what I have. And then after that, I got to start working on the steering. I have a few different options. I have an F1 steering box, and I also have a 48 Ford steering box from a new friend that I met. Picking some parts from his house, Mickey. He's a couple towns over in Hanson. He actually just hurt his leg, so Mickey, sorry to see that. I saw you, I think you tore your meniscus, which sucks. Really sorry to hear that. Hopefully you heal up soon. So yeah, next is going to be steering, pedals, front cross member. Yeah, maybe I'll pull this apart and go weld these. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm having fun. This is a blast. Everybody should build a Model T hot rod. And I'll tell you what, this thing is literally just falling together. So I have this old modified shifter, this old ball. I forget where I got this from. So I'm going to try to get this mounted on top of the shifter. I mean on top of the transmission rather. I think it's going to fit. I may end up having to kind of increase the curve. Actually, you know what? Why don't I just do that now? Find something I can bend it on. Let's see if I can bend this on my trailer hitch. Alright, let's see how that fits. My first time being in here. What a funny angle. I don't think I'm going to be able to get pressure on it and hold it straight. But I kept the shifter off of it, so I didn't have to remove the body. Oh, that makes it. Lucky first try, I guess? Maybe. And I'll cinch that down afterwards. This is all going to have to come back out anyways. It's all going to get painted. Oh, that's not good. That's neutral, but this shouldn't be spinning like that. That's reverse. That's first. That's second. That's third. Oh, I'm going to leave it there for now. I think I'm going to go hang out with the dogs. Tomorrow I'll work on the emergency brake. like that. That would go there. Clutch linkage, pedals. So it's getting there, guys. Having fun doing this. Nice little project, quick little project. I joked around with a couple of the guys in the club and said, all right, I'll be ready for trog. It was a joke, but it would be kind of cool if this thing was actually running and driving by then. Let me get out of the sun. It'd be cool if this thing was running and driving by the end of the month. I don't know as if it will be, but if I can get a Model A rear axle tomorrow from Vinny, I'll put a Model A rear axle in this thing. And it should bolt right up to that transmission without any modifications. Still got to do deck lid hinges. Yeah, I still have a lot to do. Alright guys, that's it for me today. It's Saturday. It's about 6 o'clock and I'm going to wrap it up. So hopefully you guys are having fun watching this build. It's coming together. It's just a quick little project, something fun. Something unexpected, but something I've always wanted was a Model T Roadster. And it's even cooler that it's got a flathead with a 3-speed. It's falling together. Pinetree Jamboree 2022. Guys gotta be there. Hopefully you'll see this little T Roadster going down the track. I'll see you guys. Take care. Bye bye. So I was planning on stopping. Oh, I want to show you guys something. The dog's barking. So you guys saw me throw on that grill shell, but I just set these tires up kind of roughly the stance that I want, that I think I'll end up having. Let's check it out. It looks so cool. Man, I don't know if there's anything cooler than a Model T hot rod. Well, I don't know, I guess there is, but these things are pretty simple. They got just such an awesome look, you know. So I'm just super pumped the way it's coming out. So I'm gonna probably end up changing that grill shell. I'll probably take one of the other ones that I have and use a different one. Just want to show you guys kind of what it was looking like, you know. So I'm digging it. So what I'm gonna do is, I planned on stopping for the night, but I think what I'm gonna do is just start working at this cross member. I think there's just a lot of steel on it, and I want to start chipping away at it. We have 9 or 10 discs, and that's all I have until the order that I placed comes in. They did good. They welded it good. Looks like a Model A now. Oh, man. Phew. There we go. That's better. Much better. Much better. Like I said, I'm going to probably just end up using a different drill shell, even though this one is kind of cool. I've got a few different drill shells I could use, but I don't know. Let's see. We will see, won't we now? Alright. Cool. Alright, I already said I was done for the night, but clearly that was a lie. I just don't know when to stop having a good time, I guess. So I'm going to put my tools away again. Go hang out with the dogs. Call it a night. I think I'm going to run the stock exhaust. I don't know, we'll see. If I can get away with this, then I will, but I don't know that I can. I have to cut these off. I got some headers that I may run on the car. This came with the motor that I bought recently that I ended up having to brought to the machine shop, and it ended up not being any good. But it came with these headers. Obviously this is the passenger side, the driver's side's a little funky because it's got to clear the steering. So I may end up running these, I don't know yet, we'll see. Alright everyone, that's it for me tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, today's video. It was a productive day. I like days like today. I've thrown together a few cars over the past 4 or 5 years and just flipped. And kind of similar to this build, except this one I'm going to keep. So it's just too cool not to. I never say this. Like and subscribe. You guys got to comment on the video. Tell me what you think. Like the video if you can, if you're on a tablet or an iPhone. And then subscribe. Please subscribe. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm and with the search engine and all that stuff, and trying to grow the channel. That's why I'm throwing this car together real quick. I thought it would be good to the channel, kind of spice things up a little bit, do a little something different than the 34 build, and you know, just have some fun building a Model T Roadster, because why not? See you guys, take care. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.